It began with a small group of founders in Bengaluru in 2011 who believed that buying vegetables and staples online could be normal in India. The names were familiar in the early Indian internet scene: Hari Menon, V.S. Sudhakar, V.S. Ramesh, Vipul Parekh, and Abhinay Choudhary. They had tried e-commerce earlier with FabMart, learned hard lessons, and returned with a tighter idea. A pure-play online grocer with control over sourcing, cold chain, and delivery. They chose a name you could picture in your kitchen, BigBasket, and registered the company as Supermarket Grocery Supplies. In the first months, the promise was very practical. Selected fruits and vegetables in the morning, temperature-controlled storage, careful last-mile delivery, and a refund without drama if quality disappointed. That simple, everyday promise drew the first loyal customers. The early growth years felt like building a city one road at a time. Groceries were not like books or phones. Tomatoes bruised and milk spoiled. So BigBasket decided to own the last mile. In 2018, it bought Deliver, a hyper-local delivery startup, to deepen its network of two-wheelers and speed up orders in big cities. With the Deliver fleet and know-how, 1 hour and same-day delivery became realistic rather than a promise on a banner. Around the same period, the company raised larger rounds, expanded into more cities, and kept widening its private label range. Fresho for produce, BB Royal for staples, and other house brands that quietly improved margins while giving customers predictable quality. The new engine was part logistics, part label, part habit. There were bolder moves too. In year 2020, at the start of India's COVID-19 lockdowns, BigBasket bought Daily Ninja, a micro-delivery startup that handled early morning milk and bread subscriptions. That deal helped scale BigBasket's own BB Daily subscription service and pushed the company deeper into the ritual side of grocery. Things that had to show up before the day began. The timing mattered. During lockdowns, online grocery became a lifeline for many homes, and BigBasket's volumes jumped. The company's bet on early morning delivery looked wise as households leaned on routine and reliability. A major turning point arrived in 2021. Tata Digital, a unit of the Tata Group, acquired a majority stake, about 64% in BigBasket. For a brand that had become a household name in the cities, this was both validation and new responsibility. The Tata umbrella promised deeper capital, trust, and links into a larger consumer ecosystem, including the Tata Neu app. For BigBasket, it meant a chance to professionalize at even greater scale, tidy the balance sheet, and think long-term in a very competitive market. The growth arc after 2021 was not only about scale, it was also about shape. BigBasket added BBA Now W for 10 to 20-minute missions and Bexpress for 30 to 60-minute deliveries, layering dark stores across major cities to keep inventory within a short ride of the customer. By April 2022, the company talked about dozens of dark stores and thousands of quick commerce SKUs. By mid-2022, it said most BB Now W orders were actually delivered within the mid-20-minute range, an operational choice to be fast without chasing unrealistic promises. The idea was to serve both weekly baskets from the main warehouse and urgent top-ups from the nearest micro-hub, without losing quality on either. Numbers helped the picture come into focus. BigBasket's revenue crossed rupees 10,000 crore in FY24, up from about Rs 9.5 thousand crore in FY23. Slow but steady growth, even as quick commerce competitors roared in. The company reported processing millions of orders a month across more than 30 cities, and it continued to push private label share as a third of revenue in some disclosures. In early 2025, leaders spoke about an IPO in 18 to 24 months and big expansion plans, signaling confidence after years of integration under Tata. These figures and plans told a simple story. The company kept its place among the top grocers, even as the market changed shape. Maturity in online grocery was not a quiet plateau. It was more like holding balance on a moving train. Perishables were unforgiving, and customer expectations only grew. BigBasket's mature play became a three-ring system. Planned weekly baskets from large warehouses, mid-speed express top-ups from city hubs, and true quick commerce, now orders from dark stores. On top of that sat BB daily subscriptions that ran before sunrise. Each ring needed its own inventory plan, pricing logic, and delivery rhythm. When it worked, a household could get mangoes for the weekend, bread before school, and cooking oil in a hurry, all from one brand. When any ring slipped, the whole promise felt weak. The company's maturity, therefore, meant more engineering and more discipline, not less. But the pressures that often preceded decline showed up loudly across 2024 to 25. Quick commerce stopped being a side lane and became the main road for urban grocery missions. Rivals like Blinkit and Zepto captured a large share of e-grocery orders, helped by tiny catchment areas, intense assortment tuning, and entertainment-style apps. Analysts and news reports said Blinkit crossed 50% share in quick commerce by late 2025, and industry studies argued that two-thirds of India's 2024 e-grocery orders were already in the quick commerce format. That shift bent demand away from large planned baskets and toward many small, fast missions. In FY25, press reports said BigBasket's turnover softened as this wave hit. A reminder that even strong brands had to keep up with new habits. The Economic Times. Challenges also came from outside the warehouse. In Tooty Westwall, BigBasket suffered a major data breach in which personal details of more than 20 million users were exposed on the dark web. An ugly headline in the middle of a surge. The incident pushed the company to tighten security, but it also underlined how e-commerce trust depended on invisible defenses as much as visible delivery. On the legal front, integrating acquisitions brought its own baggage. After the Daily Ninja deal, a supplier dispute turned into a large legal notice in 2001. Nothing in grocery was simple. Tomatoes, passwords, and contracts could all go bad if neglected. Through these ups and downs, you could fold a SWOT into the story without breaking the flow. The strength was a broad, deep supply chain with years of learning, a known brand backed by Tata, and a portfolio that ran from weekly baskets to dawn subscriptions and fast missions. The private label engine gave pricing power and consistency. The city-by-city networks had memory about seasonality and local tastes. The weakness was the structural cost and complexity of grocery, especially when quick commerce forced smaller order sizes and denser networks. Profitability was a narrow bridge in a business with perishable waste, dark store rents, and rising rider costs. And BigBasket had to walk that bridge while defending share. The opportunity sat in two places. First, using the Tata ecosystem, payments, loyalty, other consumer brands, to create sticky, multi-category relationships. Second, using its private labels and Fresho stores to blend online and offline in a way that quick commerce pure plays could not. The threat was the speed and scale of rivals that treated 10-minute missions as the default, plus the risk that funding cycles and price wars squeezed margins just when customers got used to free speed. Key statistics since the beginning drew a clear curve. Founded in 2011 by a 5-member team in Bengaluru, Deliver acquired in June 2016 to own the last mile and enable 1-hour service. Daily. Ninja acquired in March 2020 to grow BB Daily's micro-delivery base. Data breach reported in late 2020 with roughly 20 million users affected. Majority stake acquired by Tata Digital in 2021 at up to 64.3%. BB Now W quick commerce format launched in 2022 with dark stores and 3,000 plus SKUs, alongside BB Express for 30-60-minute windows. Revenue from operations crossing Rs 10,000 crore in FY24, and by early 25, management signaling an IPO window of 18 to 24 months, while media noted headwinds in FY25 amid quick commerce competition. Those markers showed how the company started, sped up, climbed, and then faced wind shear from a new flight path in its own sky. Maturity also brought experiments beyond the phone. In late 2021, BigBasket opened its first Fresho physical store in Bengaluru to sell fresh produce with the same brand promise as the app. It was a small step with a big idea. Let people see, touch, and trust the labels that arrived at their doors, and use stores as micro-hubs for online demand. In 2025, the company even piloted a 10-minute prepared food service in Bengaluru, in partnership with brands inside the wider Tata family. Not every experiment would scale, but the message was clear. The brand was willing to try fresh formats to stay close to the kitchen and the clock. What did decline mean here? It did not mean the end. It meant a phase when the old growth formula slowed and a new formula had to be found. BigBasket's FY24 revenue milestone showed resilience. The reported softening in FY25 showed pressure, and the IPO talk showed intent to keep building under public scrutiny. In simple words, the company was strong enough to fight, but the fight was real. Quick commerce had changed the default, and any player with a weekly basket heritage had to rewrite parts of its playbook to thrive in a 10-minute world. From this long, busy journey, the lessons felt practical. First, grocery was a trust business before it was a tech business. Owning the last mile, apologizing fast, and keeping the cold chain honest mattered more than banners. BigBasket's early decision to control delivery was not glamorous, but it became the base for everything that followed. Second, private labels were a quiet superpower. They made the price feel fair and the quality feel familiar, and they gave the company room to breathe on margins when competition heated up. Third, speed was a tool, not a religion. 10 minutes could be great for emergencies, but a brand that promised the moon on every order would burn cash and people. BigBasket's choice to tune BB Now to fast enough rather than fastest at any cost was the kind of grown-up decision that kept a network healthy. Fourth, ecosystems mattered. Under Tata, the brand got access to capital, customers, and cross-sell that a standalone might have struggled to earn. Using that wisely could turn a good grocer into a broader daily needs platform. Fifth, security and governance lived behind the screen but defined the brand. A single breach could erase years of careful work. Repairing that trust meant spending on systems the customer would never see, because their peace of mind was part of the product. Where did the road go next? Industry notes argued that quick commerce would keep growing at a strong pace through the decade, though debates about unit economics would continue. BigBasket would have to keep balancing three motions: the big planned basket that kept trucks full and waste low, the quick top-up that kept customers loyal, and the early morning ritual that locked in daily habit. If it could blend those motions inside one brand and one app, and keep private labels strong and stores smart, it could hold its ground while the market expanded. If not, the 10-minute specialists would keep taking slices of the day away. Either way, the kitchen would decide. And so the story came back to a kitchen table in Bengaluru in 2011, when 5 founders asked whether Indians would trust a screen to pick their vegetables. The answer, proven over a decade, was yes. If the service showed up on time, if the tomatoes were red, if the refund was easy, and if the price felt fair. BigBasket built its name on those small promises. Along the way, it learned to run dark stores and dawn routes, to design labels and stage mango seasons, to apologize for mistakes and fix them. It took a new parent's name on its cap and stepped into a market that would not stop moving. The brand stood at a bend in the road, strong, tested, and still learning how to be both a weekly basket and a minute's rescue. That was BigBasket's tale so far. A practical beginning, a long climb, a mature balance, and a fresh race against the clock. Told not in slogans, but in millions of quiet deliveries that made a home feel stocked and steady.